In this video, I'm going to explain how to actually gain 10 kilos of muscle and go from skinny to jacked without hopping on a cycle, without eating 5 times a day or force feeding your meals down, but by actually eating less food every day and doing less work in the gym on a weekly basis. So who is this video not for first? This video is not for guys that are looking to lose body fat. This is not for complete newbie lifters that are just starting out in the gym either. And this is not for guys who just want to build a little bit of muscle and are worried about getting too bulky. This isn't for guys who see the gym as a chore and don't like going. And this isn't for strength athletes that just want to get stronger. And this isn't for guys who just like winging it and like doing a lap of the machines and hate structure and routine. Who is this video for? This video is 100% for naturally skinnier guys who've got a super fucking fast metabolism and struggle to actually eat enough to gain weight, who want to pack on as much muscle as they possibly can in their lives and then cut down to look ripped as fuck on the beach next summer. Guys who never miss gym sessions, this is for you, but also feel like they're not reaping all of the benefits that they could be from the work that they're putting in. Like they're going to the gym often, they're not missing gym sessions, but they're not growing as quickly as they feel like they could be. Guys who feel like they just need a super clear direction with the gym and with their bulking and their nutrition to go and rinse. And this is also for guys that have been training for 1 to 3 years consistently but not grown as much muscle as they wanted. They see the gym as a game and it's one of the best parts of the day. They absolutely love going. And also this is for data-driven motherfuckers who love structure, routine, and seeing progress in their lives. So let's get into it. This is my story. I started out naturally skinny. I've been naturally skinny all of my life, and I was stuck at 72 kilos for 2 years. I got picked to play rugby for North Wales, actually, and I was super proud because my dad had also got picked to play rugby when he was younger for North Wales, and I was the first kid from my school to get chosen, and I was so proud and I was so excited, but I didn't get picked, and I barely got any game time. And at the end of the season, the coaches sat me down with my mum in a room and said, look, we're not going to pick you for next season. You haven't been chosen. The reason why is what killed me, though. They said to me, you're just not big enough. Like, you're not making an impact on the pitch. The ball's getting ripped out of your hands, and I already knew this, but the painful part was I was trying everything to gain weight, and I was trying everything to build muscle, but every week, I just was staying at the 72 kilo mark. The other guys on the rugby team were like, oh, Ollie, I could snap both of your legs with one tackle. And it was true. And that's what really hurt, right? Then I started working as a waiter and I was doing 20,000 steps every single shift. And I only had a 30-minute food break to get my calories in. And I was needing to eat over 4,000 calories to gain weight. And I just thought at this point it's going to be impossible. I'm going to be stuck in this skinny physique for the rest of my life. And I fucking hated how I looked. I absolutely hated how I looked. But then I got consistent with my eating. And I pushed my body weight up, and this is actually after my first ever bulking phase. I cut back down and realized that I barely built any muscle because I completely bodged my first bulking phase. Then I did a slightly more successful one, and then if you compare that to now, I've gained over 20 kilos and I've competed as a bodybuilder, placing top 3 in my first ever show. And more recently and more relevantly, in the last year, I've started growing muscle quicker than I did in my first 3 years of training. So I've developed a new kind of training technique that's blown up even my stubborn muscle groups. Obviously, my back is a strong muscle group and it's growing super quickly at the moment, but my legs, which have always been my biggest insecurity and always been the muscle group that I hated looking at, I hate that part of my physique, I've added 8 centimeters in the last 10 months. And so in this video, I'm going to break down the exact techniques that I'm using to turn my stubborn muscle groups, my weak muscle groups, into strong ones and blow up my strong muscle groups. And along the way, once I learned these techniques for myself as well, when I learn how to get my body weight up, when I learn how to actually run a proper gaining phase that gets you jacked instead of just making you fat like my first one, and how to actually train to explode your weakest muscle groups, I started sharing that information. I started coaching some of my friends during the lockdowns in my little attic gym. I started coaching my dad, and then over the last 4 years, this developed into me starting OJD coaching and coaching other naturally skinnier guys to putting on muscle. And you can see here, Jordan has doubled the size of his lats. Craig has put on over 10 kilos of muscle. Owen, in one gaining phase, gained 15 kilos of muscle. Stefan added 8 kilos. Jacob doubled the width of his back in one gaining phase, and you can just see here that there's a plethora of client results. And so far, I've transformed over 100 skinny guys and helped them build over 300 kilos of muscle altogether. So in this video, I'm going to reveal all of the secrets. You can see here some of the results that these guys are getting. Because it's not just the building muscle, it's the side effects once that happens. Because as an actually skinnier guy, you don't realize how it affects other areas of your life until you actually build the muscle. Like, look at this. The girl from the first day ages ago came round at the weekend and was touching my arms and complimenting them. Unheard of. Mate, this pump didn't even feel real. Never felt or looked so good in my life. The confidence I'm gaining is crazy. Honestly, camera doesn't do it justice. Bro, the compliments just keep coming. In my tank top, climbing, my mate said, fucking hell, have you been going to the gym? Mate, I've never felt so big in my life. Every skinny guy deserves to experience this. Every skinny guy deserves to build muscle and experience how fast it can change your life. The sheer satisfaction from hitting new PBs consistently and seeing minor improvements week in week, such a high. Everything starts with your fitness. And that's what this video is going to break down. So, here's the biggest problems that we're facing right now, and here's probably why you haven't been able to succeed as a naturally skinnier guy with the current situation that is the fitness industry, right? The biggest problem you're facing is there's an obesity epidemic. You've got to realize this, okay? 90% of the world is fucking fat, and every coach on Instagram just helps with fat loss because that's the most prevalent issue. That's what the majority of people are struggling with, and also it's what looks way better on their Instagram page. Think about it. If you sign up with a coach, and for the first 10 weeks, what are they going to get you to do so that you look better at the end of the 12 weeks or at the end of the 3 months? It's cut, because losing body fat looks way better than gaining muscle. It's not sexy, right? But yeah, 90% of the world is fat, and every coach on Instagram is just helping with fat loss. So when you, a naturally skinny guy, ask for advice on how to gain weight, they have no idea how to help you, and they'll either force you into doing the cut first, which I've heard, and I've been forced into it in the past as well, so that it looks better on their Instagram profile, and they can show it as a transformation and go, look how shredded he looks now, even though that's not what you wanted, right? They'll either get you to do that, or if you really convince them, I want to gain weight, I want to build muscle, that's my main focus, the only advice that you'll get is, oh, you just need to eat more. Which is literally the worst possible advice for a skinny guy. And I'll explain why later on in this video, but it's the worst possible advice that you can be given. And the training program they put you on will be based on fat loss as well. So they'll have you on a high volume split, training 5 to 6 times a week and spending hours in the gym, because this actually helps their fat loss clients. Think about it. They're spending loads of hours outside their kitchen in somewhere where they can't eat, so they literally can't get in more calories. And secondly, they're in the gym 5 to 6 times a week doing HIIT workouts, doing a load of volume, because it literally gets to them in more steps and burns in calories, right? But for you, it puts you on a hamster wheel with your training quality going down weekly, adding more and more sets, trying to build more muscle, when it's actually just wasting you fucking time, and it's burning you calories that you're going to have to eat again later on. So the current the current fitness industry is just not catered towards you, not catered towards us as naturally skinny guys at all. It doesn't speak to us. There's no such thing as high protein, high calorie recipes. The only thing you'll find is high protein, low calorie recipes. There's no such thing as bulking programs. There's only 6-week shred programs. There's no like bulking training programs. There's only programs to burn your belly fat. Like, realize this. Nobody is solving the problems that we have at the moment in the fitness industry. So it's not your fault that you can't find a solution. It's simply that your problems aren't being catered to. And the biggest lie that you will have heard of all is bulking is so much easier than cutting. Because if you think about it, everyone that's struggling with fat loss are looking at you and thinking, wow, you get to eat whatever you want and never gain weight. You're so lucky. Bulking is so much easier than cutting. You don't have to, you can eat whatever you want. You don't have to worry about this, the cravings and the hunger. They just don't get it. They just do not fucking get it, okay? And they will literally tell you, and I'm not just saying other coaches, I'm saying your family members, I'm saying your partner, I'm saying your friends, I'm saying your colleagues will be saying, oh, you're so lucky you get to eat whatever you want and never gain weight. They just don't get the stress of constantly thinking about food. They don't get the stress of actually struggling to finish a meal. They don't get the stress of opening up MyFitnessPal at 9 p.m, opening up and realizing you've got 2,500 calories left to get in, or you're going to weigh in a kilo lighter tomorrow and lose all of the progress you've been working so hard for. They don't get it. They just don't understand this, okay? Because the truth is, you can't eat whatever you want in a bulk. I'm going to be completely honest with you, you can't. You're going to probably have to reduce your intake of some of your favorite foods. Like, for example, I love potatoes. They're my favorite carb source. I can't eat them when I'm gaining because they're getting 4,000 calories. Potatoes are the most filling food on planet Earth. I have to limit how many potatoes I'm actually having and tailor my food choices to get my calories in by increasing the density. So you can't eat whatever you want in a bulk, and bulking is so much more restrictive than cutting as a hard gainer. These are the truths that you just will not be told by anyone else. And we've got the old way of doing things, and this is what you will probably have been told. Force down more food. Just eat more food. You just need to eat more food. Oh, you're not motivated enough. You're not disciplined enough. You just need to eat more. Also, gaining more fat than muscle in your bulking phases, doing it super quickly, gaining fat, cutting back down, looking exactly the same. Flip-flopping from bulking to cutting, never actually staying consistent in a phase, but instead just like flip-flopping, 4 months there, 4 months here, 4 months there, 4 months here. Building programs just based off the equipment you've got access to without actually considering the resistance profiles of those exercises, and adding workload and sets to build you more muscle. So if you're not growing, it'll just be eat more, lift heavier. That is the advice you get given, plain and simple, but it doesn't work. And wasting months in cutting phases when in reality you should only be spending like 6 weeks in a cut. The new way is this. Increasing the density of your diet instead of the volume. So instead of eating more, actually eating less food at the end of every day. I know it sounds fucking crazy. Also, gaining mostly muscle, not fat, in compound gaining phases, not just piling fat on in bulking phases. Protecting your massing momentum at all costs. So actually building momentum in your gaining phases and stacking new bits of tissue and not turning back into a cut as soon as you've gained your first little bit of body fat. Prioritizing training muscles in the length and position to maximize your growth, because your stubborn muscle groups as a naturally skinny guy are going to take some unlocking. And you can't just get away with lifting heavier, trying to progressively overload. It doesn't work. I did that for 4 years and my legs didn't grow. I'm being deadly serious. You have to learn how to maximize the tension you're putting on them. And then growing more from every set you're currently doing. So getting more out of your work, out of your gym work, rather than adding more gym work. So growing quicker, training 3 to 4 times a week, than wasting loads of hours training 5 to 6 days a week and not actually building any more muscle. And when you do cut, ripping off 10% body fat in just 6 to 8 weeks in rapid revealing phases, instead of pissing around trying to get off that last little bit of body fat, because every week you spend cutting is a week that you're not growing muscle. And that should be your main priority as a naturally skinny guy. And that's where the core values of SJ12 come from. So SJ12 is going from skinny to jacked in 12 weeks. This is my bulking challenge. And there's 5 core values that I stick to. 5 core values that underpin everything, right? So stimulus, challenge, ownership, systems, and efficiency. And to quantify these, the stimulus for the target muscle that you're actually delivering is always more important than the load you're using. I don't care what load you're using. I don't care what reps you're using. I don't even care what exercises you're doing. Stimulus is king when it comes to the gym. And if you're delivering enough stimulus, they'll grow. And so that's a leading factor when it comes to the gym work. Secondly, you only grow in your challenge. That's why SJ12 is a challenge. It's not a program. It's not coaching. It's a challenge. I wholeheartedly believe that you only grow when you're challenged. And the reason I believe this is because I hired my first ever coach when I was working as a waiter, and I was only earning 160 quid per month, and this coach was charging like 220, 250 quid. He was on the top bodybuilding coaches in the world at the time, and I reached out to him and said, I've got to change something. I can't live the rest of my life skinny. I refuse to. There's no other option. And so I challenged myself. I put it all on the line. I got skin in the game, and I invested, and it changed my fucking life. He sorted out my nutrition. He taught me some of the concepts that are in this video right here. That helped me gain 20 kilos of muscle, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life and hundreds of my clients' lives. You don't change unless you're challenged, and that's why SJ12 in itself is a challenge. To gain 5 kilos in 12 weeks, it's not a program, it's a challenge. And if you complete the challenge, you win your money back. Take extreme ownership. Never pass the blame. One key value of mine is never passing the blame. Your work in the gym shouldn't just be about getting jacked. It should be about how it changes your mind along the process. How the discipline that you build from going to the gym carries across into your relationships, how it carries across into your work, how it carries across into your life. I can't tell you how many of my clients I've seen earn more money, get better girlfriends, build better relationships, increase their confidence because of the gym work that we're doing. And this comes from owning everything and taking extreme ownership, not passing the blame and saying, oh, someone else cooked me tea, I couldn't get my protein in. Oh, I couldn't do my gym session this week, my boss kept me in late. Take fucking extreme ownership. Own everything in your life. That's one of the key values here. Because when you own everything, you take back all of your power, okay? If you pass the blame, you stay the same. If you own everything and you take extreme ownership over everything in your life, then that power comes back to you. So it's one of our key values. Also, building systems over relying on motivation. In the long run, when it comes to gaining phases, to build the amount of muscle that you really want to build, it's not going to be a short-term process. It's a long-term process. SJ12 is the challenge initially, but once you flip your mindset, it's a long-term process. And so we need to build systems that actually integrate within your life, not just rely on motivation to get you there every single time. So when it comes to altering your diet, we're building systems that make bulking sustainable long term. I don't just want to overfeed you for 6 weeks so that you gain weight and then lose it again. We need to integrate systems that actually work long term. So systems is one of our key values as well. And finally, efficiency. I have a zero junk volume policy. Every single time you touch a dumbbell in the gym, I want it to be building new muscle. I don't want you to be wasting a single second in the gym, because that is time that you could be spending getting calories in, and it's also calories burned that you're going to have to re-eat. I don't want you ever to do a single rep of junk volume. Don't want it to happen. And SJ12 is underpinned with 4 main processes. We take you through 4 stages, and this is our cycle. And this is how we get all of our results. We go through fuel, build, stimulate, reveal. And for each of these, we have unique mechanisms and unique ways of doing things. So the one that underpins everything is the density diet. And this is getting in more calories while actually eating less food. So when everybody else is telling you to eat more food and just keep shoving it down, I don't care if you're not hungry, I don't care if it's 9 p.m, just force your calories down, even though it's tanking your sleep, even though you're waking up the next day and barely being able to eat your breakfast, even though you're struggling to digest it, even though you're feeling like shit halfway through your leg sessions and almost throwing up, they're still telling you to eat more food. We don't do that. We put you on the density diet instead and show you how to get in more calories while eating less food so that you're hungry at the end of every night and your appetite is protected, not destroyed. Secondly, we take you through compound gaining phases, not bulking phases, which is the perfect growth phase to capture all of the gains that you can possibly pick up throughout a gaining phase. We also take a stimulus first approach to training, right? Not a numbers first approach. We're not chasing numbers, we're chasing muscle. And so we take a stimulus first approach, and this eliminates junk volume, and you will grow from every single rep that you do in the gym. And then finally, when it does come time to cut, we put you in rapid revealing phases. And this is where you drop 10% body fat quickly and reveal the gains that you've made, but also wake your appetite back up to go into your next gaining phase. And this cycle is what we iterate through, and this is how we get the most insane results when it comes to hard gainers, right? So phase number 1, fuel. The density diet. This is how this works. You get in more calories while eating less actual food by optimizing your food density, increasing your eating window, and using strategic liquid calories so that you can bulk without force feeding. And this is how I learned this. In my first 2 years of lifting, I was literally stuck at 72 kilos. You can see the photo here. I was stick thin, right? People used to tell me I should have been a long distance runner or a rower, and maybe I didn't have the genetics for bodybuilding. I was struggling to eat enough to gain weight, and to make things worse, I started working as a waiter. I was doing 20,000 steps per shift, and I only had a 30-minute food break to get my calories in. I physically could not get the food down me, and I thought I was going to be stuck skinny in this physique forever. I thought, shit, my genetics have just got me trapped. I can't get in this amount of calories. It's going to be like a treadmill, a hamster wheel for the rest of my life. I can't do it. Then I discovered the 3 rules of the density diet, and I've been able to gain over 4,000 calories a day easily, gain 20 kilos, and finally get jacked. Without force feeding, without tanking my appetite, without constantly thinking about food. It's easy now because of these rules. And so the problem here is that most coaches will just tell you to eat more food to gain weight. They'll tell you to double your portion sizes, have 2 breakfasts, eat 5 to 6 times a day. And this is a problem because you'll be forcing back more and more food every single day to the point where in just a few weeks' time, and you'll notice this, you'll be waking up every single morning feeling less and less hungry. Your appetite will be dying day to day, and you literally won't be able to carry on eating. And you won't be able to carry on eating that amount and carry on bulking. You'll have to turn back, or you'll randomly get ill, and the weight will just fall off, right? And every single meal, you'll start to notice this. You'll get towards the end of every single meal, and the last few mouthfuls, they're not enjoyable. They taste like paper. Even your favorite foods are starting tasting like shit. And the idea of food, just waking up and thinking about food, starts making you feel sick. And the reality is, this is not a strategy that can build you the muscle that you want, because it gets worse when you realize you have to cut your bulking phases short. So if you're just constantly overfeeding, your appetite will get to a point where it disappears and you can't carry on, and you end up cutting literally after only a few months. You can see here your body weight will go up really quickly and you'll have to cut again, then it'll go up really quickly and then you'll have to cut again. And throughout this, your muscle mass will be barely changing, because to grow a serious amount of muscle mass, it's the time spent in a gaining phase. It's not how quickly you gain. You can't take a bulk too far, but you definitely can take it too fast, okay? And it means that you're never going to have the time in a surplus to actually grow the muscle that you really want, and you will literally just spin your wheels, gaining and losing the same 5 to 10 kilos, and never building the muscle that you really want underneath. The density diet works differently. Okay, so the first thing we do is increase the density of your diet to over 1,500 calories per kilo of food, and we do this by implementing the best bulking recipes I've found over the last 5 years that are optimized to getting more calories. They cost less than £3 in ingredients, and they take less than 10 minutes to cook. And you literally just drag and drop these straight into your diet. We've got an automatic shopping list calculator, a shopping list writer as well. So once you select the meals that suit your preferences, suit the meals that you like to eat, it automatically writes your shopping list for you. You literally just drag and drop this straight into your diet. And it means that you can actually end every day having eaten less physical food, but gaining more weight. And so your appetite every day is actually getting better. And I get messages from my clients saying, bro, I've just hit my highest ever calories and I'm hungry. What is going on? Second thing we do, the second rule of the density diet, is opening up your eating window to at least 10 hours per day. And this spreads your calories across the day and makes them way more manageable while giving yourself a chance to actually become hungry again between your meals. And then the final rule is make at least one of your meals daily completely liquid, so that you can cut your shopping, eating, and digesting times in half. Like making a smoothie takes 5 minutes. Cooking a plate of chicken rice can take over 2-3 hours with cleaning, going to the shop, buying the ingredients, cooking it. We think about the extra factors that come along with bulking, not just getting the food down itself. We're going to minimize your cooking time, your ingredient list, your shopping list, the time it takes to buy them, your cleaning time afterwards, because I understand the little stresses that come along with trying to force back 4,000 calories a day, and the density diet literally solves all of them. It saves your jaw from chewing another meal, because I know at the end of every day of bulking, you've got that little pain in your jaw here that's just sore from literally nomming away on food all day. You won't experience that anymore. And so they'll tell you to just eat more food until you get sick or lose your appetite. We show you how to gain weight while actually eating less and protect your appetite along the way. So the old way of doing things is literally just forcing down more food, just eating more, force feeding your meals down, tanking your appetite within weeks, constantly jumping from bulking to cutting without building any momentum, spinning your wheels and gaining and losing the same 2 kg over and over again, versus the density diet, eating a minimal surplus and protecting your appetite for as long as possible, increasing the density of your diet to over 1,500 calories per kilo of food, and we calculate the density of your current diet, implement our plug and play meals, and it will rise automatically. Shopping lists written for you and everything, and liquid calorie recipes given to you to go and make, and we can get the density of your diet up above 1,500 literally in the first week of you working with us. And we also open your eating window to at least 10 hours per day and make one of your meals daily completely liquid. And here's just like some of the results from implementing the density diet into some of my clients' diets, right? So gaining weight and still feeling hungry at the end of every night, no tanking your appetite, having to force feed, able to gain for years, not months, and when you do cut back down, you'll look like a completely new person. So look at this, right? 2,700 calories yesterday and still had an appetite. With a smoothie, I'm consistently hitting over my protein and calorie goal. This was Ross, by the way, who was struggling to hit his calories for years. Like he'd been trying to force feed for years without feeling extremely full. This is the first time feeling for me. Brekkie from your gaining cheat sheet. Now we're talking calories are going to be getting hit easily. Cheat code. Program's helped me put on about 6 kilos this year, which is massive for me. Enrique, learning about how to do density eating has completely changed my bulk. Being able to keep reaching my 3,000 calorie goal consistently for the first time in my life. Biggest win is a nutritional discipline. I suppose there are times when I really don't feel like eating, but then I just make high calorie smoothie and I don't even feel it. Do you read that? Don't even feel it. And look, this is what it leads to. When you can actually optimize your diet and systemize your diet so that you're getting in your calories without killing your appetite, without force feeding, it means that you can bulk for 2 years in a row. And that's what happens when you can gain for 2 years in a row. Look at that. It's the same dude. This is Owen, who literally was eating as much as he physically could. I put him on a density diet and he's put on 15 kilos and he looks like a completely new guy. Craig, same thing. He was a rugby player, getting muscled off the ball, just wasn't big enough, kept on getting dropped. Now he's an 18 player. He's the first guy to get picked. Do you know why? Because he's 101 kilos and he's jacked because of the density diet, right? This is another one of my clients' bodyweight graphs. You can see 12 months bodyweight consistently going up, right? 12 months. Can you imagine right now, with the system that you're currently running, would you be able to push your bodyweight up consistently for a year? Just force feeding more and more? If the answer is no, then the density diet is what you need, okay? Second one, the second phase is build. So once we've actually implemented the density diet into your nutrition and you've got your calories going in, we then put you into one massing phase that is built to last as long as possible on a minimal surplus. This way we protect your massing momentum so that you collect these tiny little bits of new tissue every single week. You're building muscle under the surface so that when you do cut down, you look like a new guy. You haven't just gained and lost the same 5 kilos, you're actually getting jacked. And it only takes one phase. It only takes one of these to get jacked forever. And I'll prove it to you. So in my first 2 years of lifting, as I said, I was stuck at 72 kilos. Then in my first bulk, I was so desperate to build muscle, I gained 22 kilos in 12 months. You can see here. This was when I went on the density diet the first time, okay? I put on literally 22 kilos in 12 months. And I thought I was going to be ripped when I cut back down, but I cut back down and looked exactly the same. I looked like this. I looked exactly the same. And I realized that I had literally just gained fat, not muscle. And the reason behind this was because I was bulking. I was gaining way more fat than muscle, and I took it way too quickly. But since I bodged that first bulking phase here, since then I've only ran compound gaining phases, which are phases where it's an extended surplus for over 12 months, over 18 months, taking things really nice and slow, not tanking my appetite, and being patient, delaying the gratification, right? And every time I cut back down now, I look like a completely new guy. I literally look like a completely new guy every single time I cut down. People are like, how the fuck have you done that? And it's because I'm running these longer, slower compound gaining phases and I stop bulking. So the problem again is that traditional bulking phases rely on a larger surplus, eat more, and fast weight gain to build muscle quickly. So in your first month, you might build more muscle on a high surplus. Makes perfect sense. Also means gaining fat just as quickly. And that doesn't seem like a big problem, but after 4 months, you might have built more muscle, but you've also gained more body fat, forcing you to ruin your momentum to go back into a cutting phase and cut it off again. So it's not necessarily the body fat that's the problem, it's the fact that you have to go back into a cut and ruin your massing momentum because you then plan each cut to last only 6 weeks, but you end up taking 12 to 16 weeks because of how much body fat you actually gained in the bulking phase, and most lifters actually lose muscle during this period as well. And then you're back at square one. Starting the same cycle over again. You're back at the same body weight and you're starting a bulking phase again, and then you're going to cut back down to the same weight, and you just gain and lose the same fucking 5 kilos. And it gets worse when you realize that the quicker you gain, the quicker your appetite tanks, which leads to you cutting even sooner the next time. And this cycle's like a vicious cycle, right? And you end your gaining phase before you've even had the chance to start collecting any new tissue, okay? So compound gaining is different. These are purposely planned out massing phases that last as long as physically possible using a minimal surplus, and we protect your momentum at all costs. This way we're collecting new bits of muscle every single week, and you can see that your muscle mass will be going up with your body weight, not just your body weight shooting up and the muscle mass not really moving. And you'll be stacking new little bits of tissue when all of your mates are in bulking phases, getting fat, and they're just going to have to turn around in a month's time. You're going to literally still be growing. The gains will compound the better you preserve the momentum as well, so the longer you stay in this phase, the more you will grow. And when you do cut down at the end with a rapid revealing phase, you will look like a completely new person compared to the guy who went into the muscle building phase in the first place, right? So bulking is overeating and tanking your appetite within months, constantly jumping from phase to phase without building any momentum, getting fat too quickly and your abs disappearing in 4 weeks, cutting every 4 to 6 months to reveal the gains that you have not made yet, opting for a larger surplus to build more muscle in the next 2 months, and a short-term mindset and needing to see your gains now, right? It's like immaturity, bulking. Compound gaining is eating a minimal surplus to protect your appetite for as long as possible, delaying gratification and sticking to your gaining phases for a minimum 10 months, minimizing your body fat gain for as long as possible, and getting leaner for the first 3 months. Literally, your macros will be optimized and your surplus will be so small that you'll be gaining weight and getting leaner for the first 3 months. And I'll show you proof of that in a second. But you'll be protecting your massing momentum and giving yourself the longest runway for growing muscle as you can. You'll be opting for a smaller surplus to build more muscle over the next 3 years rather than building more muscle in the next month. It's a long-term mindset. And trust that growth is happening beneath the surface. So you can see here. So compound gaining phases lead to you building more muscle in one phase than you could in 3 bulks. Like look, Jordan, 1 bulk. Gitter, 1 bulk. And getting bigger while getting leaner for the first 2 to 4 months. So just look at this message from Rob. The vascularity in my arms is popping. Hard to see you on camera, but honest. Rob, you should not be getting leaner. I can't help it. I'm definitely losing body fat. My waist is the smallest it's ever been. This was him in a gaining phase. His body weight is going up, and he's sending me these messages, okay? Sean, gaining weight while getting leaner. Also, side note, my definition is improving. So the current macros have me gaining weight while body recomping. He literally sent me photos, and he was like, why do I have an 8-pack now? I started with a 4-pack, and I've gained weight. This is what happens to literally every single one of my clients. For the first 2 to 4 months, you will get leaner in a gaining phase because your training is optimized, and your surplus is dialed in so that you can recomp while getting heavier. And then when you do cut back down, it's a game over. You look like a completely new guy. When you do cut back down, like, it's unrecognizable because you've spent so long building muscle. You can actually see it. When you're bulking, you cut back down, it's like, I can kind of see it. Not really. Compound gaining phases are different. The next phase we go into is stimulate, and this is where we really focus on the training side of things, right? So get more growth from every set you do by prioritizing stimulus first over volume or load. And this is all about maximizing the return on every second you spend in the gym and getting complete clarity on your training. So knowing every set that you're doing is actually building new muscle and not just burning time. We are completely against junk volume. I want you to be able to train 3 to 4 times a week and grow quicker than your friends that are growing 5 to 6 times a week and have them asking you, how the fuck are you doing it? Because this is how I learned this. I spent 4 years adding more weight to my hack squat because I heard someone say, oh, if you can hack squat 2 times your body weight, you'll have huge legs. 6 months in, I did it, right? And I carried on adding weight for the next 3 years, but my legs, when I looked at them, this was 4 years. They'd barely grown. So I was chasing numbers, I was chasing progressive overload, I was chasing weight because I'd heard, you just need to add weight, you just need to lift heavier. And I did it for 4 years, legs barely grew. Then I transitioned to a stimulus first approach and started really hunting stimulus over everything else. I added 8 centimeters in the next 10 months. So my most stubborn muscle group grew 8 centimeters in 10 months, 5 years into my lifting journey, with less sets, less volume, less weight, and 0 joint pain. So the problem is that most coaches will get you to prioritize progressive overload with weight over reps, or reps first over everything else. And this leads to your logbook and the numbers in your logbook going up every single week, but not always more muscle built. My logbook was going up every single week. My numbers were going up, muscle wasn't being built, right? And you end up taking rep or load progression, so you end up loading more weight on the bar or trying to get more reps that make you sacrifice stimulus for that muscle group. So, for example, towards the ends of my leg hack squat sets, I was adding on more and more weight, but I was feeling it less and less in my quads. My knees were hurting more. I was having to BFR wrap my knees, like blood flow restrict my knees, having to change my foot positioning because my knees were like screaming, but my quads were feeling it less and less. The next day I'd wake up, my knees would be hurting, but my quads would barely feel touched. Exactly the same as every other exercise. When I was just chasing numbers, when I was just chasing weight, when I was just chasing reps or PRs, it wasn't building muscle. And you end up getting other muscle groups involved without realizing. So when you're bench pressing and you're just chasing weight, for example, you end up getting front delts involved, triceps involved without realizing, and it sacrifices the stimulus on your chest. And this often leads to you taking form resets every 6 weeks and lowering the weight to reset your form, but it's still not feeling great, and it never quite hits the target muscle like you want it to. It's not like when you're doing an exercise, you're like, oh my god, it's just screaming in the target muscle. It's hitting all these different types of muscle groups, and you're never really feeling it on the money, right? And so the reality is, this becomes an even bigger problem because over the long run, right, your growth will slow down, and when it does slow down, you have nowhere else to go except adding more volume. And coaches in the past have said this to me, right? When my gains were slowing down on like my chest, but I was already benching, I was already doing all these exercises, what did they do? Add in more exercises, add in more sets, do more. And it puts you on this roller coaster of just doing more and more volume, but not even getting diminishing returns, just like pumping out sets for the sake of pumping out sets, but not actually seeing any more growth. More sets, more load, more reps, because you're scraping for stimulus in the last 2 reps of every set you do. It's like the last 2 reps of every single set, that's when you feel it in the muscle group, but for the rest of the set, it's barely there. And you start thinking it's your split that's the problem, or your rep ranges, or something to do with your programming, but it's the fact that you're not actually delivering stimulus to the target muscle you're trying to train. And that's why we put stimulus above everything else. They will tell you to do more sets to grow more muscle. We will show you how to grow more muscle from every single set you're doing. They show you how to progressively overload and get stronger. We show you how to deliver a progressive stimulus to get bigger, okay? They tell you to adjust the exercises to move the most weight. Oh yeah, you can bench more weight by doing this. I will show you how to adjust your exercises to build the most fucking muscle, because there is a big difference here. And the difference in approach is when you've got a numbers first approach to the gym, you're hunting numbers to stroke your ego. When you're chasing numbers in the name of progressive overload, sure, you're going to get stronger, but you're not always going to get bigger. You're aiming to move as much weight as possible. You end up resetting your form every 6 weeks because you've lost connection with your target muscle. You don't consider the resistance profiles you're training with, and you're training 5 to 6 days a week, and you still look the same as you did 6 months ago. A stimulus first approach is different. We're hunting stimulus to grow our physique. That's our number one priority. We're chasing growth using a progressive stimulus. We're not chasing numbers using progressive overload, right? We make exercises as hard as possible for the target muscle, and we take a stimulus first approach from the get-go and then ramp your numbers up. So stimulus comes first. I want to know the disruption, the pump, the stretch that you're getting on that muscle group, and that's what we prioritize first, and then we pump your numbers up. But that's what comes first, because if that's not in place, you could progressively overload for months and still not grow any muscle. We also strategically program resistance profiles, and we think about how we're going to get your muscle groups to be targeted the most when they're most stretched, so that we can maximize this stimulus that we're putting on them. And the knock-on effect of this is we want you training 3 to 4 times a week and get accused of being on something. And this is exactly what our clients have experienced, right? Grow more muscle in the next 4 months than you have in the last whole year. Maximize your gains in 4 sessions a week and save 6 hours per week that you can put back into whatever you want, back into your eating, back into your cooking, to help you actually gain weight. Or just more time for you to do whatever you want during your week while building more muscle, right? Or into your recovery. Cause more growth from every single set you're doing weekly. Watch even your most stubborn muscle groups grow and your strong ones explode. So you can see here, Rob, looking at myself, I genuinely feel like I've made more progress in the last 5 months than most people don't even see in a year's worth of training. Travelled home for a few pints with my mates and got the best comment. Fucking hell, who's put juice in your arms? Absolutely fucking chuffed. It's mad, I don't even remember what it was like before I trained properly. It's wild. Literally life-changing. I did my first workout of the upper lower split tonight and can honestly say I've never felt a pump like it. I felt like I was targeting each muscle exactly how I wanted to, and I was feeling the burn exactly where I should. In 20 odd years of on and off training, I've been told by several professionals that I just need to eat more or lift a heavier weight, but nobody's ever properly explained this to me, and this coupled with a really well thought out plan has left me leaving the gym in a really positive place. Sean, I've been training wrong. I trained a measly 2 days on the push-pull lower upper lower split with the elastic method. The muscle soreness reminds me of when I first started. Keep in mind, I've probably been training consistently for a year straight, and each workout took longer. 100% saving time and junk volume, right? And the knock-on effect of that is literally you will get accused of being on steroids because of how quickly you're growing. This is Sean. Came down to see my family before I went to work. My dad asked if I'm on steroids. Jacob has been getting multiple accusations of being on steroids on social media. I swear I feel like I'm building a new chest with that amount of damage. Look at Rob's growth here. Do you see this? Yeah. And I can show you these messages forever, right? Training's flying. I feel like everything's slowly coming together. Hard to explain, but my whole physique is just leveling up. Chest looks like I've got into a fight with a cat. Love seeing stretch marks. He was cutting at this point. Gittel was cutting. He was growing so fast that he got stretch marks in a cutting phase. Pump is really hitting today. Fuck me, arm looks photoshopped. Upper was ridiculous. Chest felt so light and easy. Highest weight I've ever used. So that was great. Everything else felt crazy good too. Great pump and sauna. Biceps really coming along nicely. I swear you photoshopped my head onto someone else there. That is mad. Genuinely didn't realize how much progress was made. I'm looking a lot more filled out. Chest and shoulders are looking bigger. Burn on dumbbell chest flies. Gone from an exercise I hated to one I love because I can really feel the muscle engagement. Just carries on. And then the final phase we take our clients through is the rapid revealing phases. And this is our rapid fat loss protocol. We drop 10% body fat in a rapid fat loss phase where you lock in for 6 to 10 weeks and reveal the gains that you've made. And we agree up front. These phases are not comfortable. They will suck. But that is the point. You will see weekly visual changes, ramp up hunger for the next massing phase, and come out the other side lean, focused, and your appetite is back alive and you're primed to grow. Okay, so the problem that you face as a hard gainer and with fat loss phases at the moment is that most coaches will get you to take a shorter fat loss phase, slow and steady. Tell you why. Think about all of their other fat loss clients. Their other fat loss clients can't hack fast fat loss. They can't hack it. They will binge, they will overeat, they will lose muscle because their metabolisms just can't hack it. To make sure that these cutting phases are sustainable and they don't make you too hungry, that's what they're worried about. They're just not catering to your problems. And this is a problem because you're extending the cutting phase longer than it needs to be and keeping your hunger at bay, increasing the volume of your food to keep your hunger at bay, when you actually want to be ramping it the fuck up so that you can reach your calorie targets in your next gaining phase. Like, you purposely want to ramp your appetite up. That's what you want. And this is a bigger problem because the longer you spend away from gaining, the more momentum you lose. The longer you spend cutting, the less muscle you'll be building. And you're wasting precious weeks that should be spent maximizing your potential growth. And you'll have weeks during these cutting phases where your body weight just maintains, and you'll say, oh, it's just my water weight. Bullshit. Realistically, it's a week wasted that you should have spent growing or losing more body fat. These phases are the biggest energy and momentum killers, and you need to avoid them at all costs. And they say it's all about balance. Cutting is like, oh yeah, you need to have high calorie weekends and really balance out everything. We say you grow when you're challenged. Lock the fuck in. Their mini cuts turn into 16-week painful slogs with underwhelming results where you still aren't lean enough to go into your next gaining phase. I will tell you to lock the fuck in for 6 to 8 weeks and accept the pain, okay? They fight to keep your hunger at bay. I'll tell you to ramp your hunger up on purpose because that's what you need to grow in your next gaining phase. So regular fast fat loss is 8-week cutting phases that end up turning into cuts that last 4 months with a photo shoot at the end of it. Not what you're after. You'll waste weeks with the scale not moving and blame it on water weight. You focus on keeping your hunger at bay. You're obsessed with balance and how it's sustainable. Make sure the fat loss is sustainable. Our rapid revealing phases look like this. Locking the fuck in for 6 to 10 weeks, accepting the pain, and dropping 10% body fat. You're ripping it off, taking full ownership over their progress and control their inputs. So I actually want you to thrive off the focus of an unsustainable period. It is meant to hurt. The less food is going to give you the most clarity you've ever had. I want you to pour that into your work. I want you to pour that into your relationships. It will make you sharper. I don't want to make this phase easier. I want to make this phase hard, right? I want you to get hungry. I want you to get more focused. This is a phase for growth. You take full ownership over your progress and control your inputs, ramp your hunger up purposefully to reignite your appetite to grow, and care more about rapid fat loss so you can get back to growing muscle ASAP. Because your goal during these cutting phases should still be to grow muscle and get as jacked as possible. And the way that you do that is you make the cutting phases as short as possible, right? So the outcome is you're going to see rapid fat loss, seeing the scale and visuals change daily. I mean daily. Like, this is ripping body fat off. You'll reveal all of the gains you've made without dropping any muscle mass. You can see Owen here. I just took the best photo of my life. Louis, who got 6-pack in literally 6 weeks. Hunger reignited, ready for the next gaining phase as well. And this is the whole process, and this is the system that we take every single client through in SJ12. So the density diet, compound gaining, stimulus first training, and then rapid revealing phases. So here, we have fueling your training. Here, we have building the muscle. Here, we have stimulating your muscles to actually grow. And then finally, we've got revealing phases to actually show the gains that you've made and prime you for your next gaining phase. And the results that we've got, you can just see some of them on the screen. But we've built so far over 300 kilos of muscle for our clients. And the SJ12 is a 12-week challenge where you gain 5 kilos, and when you gain 5 kilos, you win all of your money back at the end. It's a challenge for a reason. And you can imagine, taking on SJ12, these are the things that you're going to experience. You're never going to stress about where your next 1,000 calories are coming from ever again. You're going to have your bulky nutrition completely systemized, with you gaining weight, doing less than you are right now, thinking less about food, eating less food, worrying less about food, cooking less. All of that is going to be less, and you're going to be getting more of the results that you want. Imagine knowing that you're compounding new muscle tissue every single week, and imagine gaining 10 kilos of lean mass in one gaining phase that leaves you jacked forever. Like, look at this. That's one gaining phase. Like, forget about bulking cutting cycles. Just do one compound gaining phase with us, and you'll be jacked for the rest of your life. Owen is never going to go back to being skinny. He can't. He's built so much muscle, it would be impossible. Jacob is never going to go back to being skinny. He couldn't. He's put on over 10 kilos of muscle. He physically couldn't. It just takes one compound gaining phase. That's all it takes. Imagine knowing that you're training in a way that maximizes your growth and literally seeing yourself get bigger in the changing room mirror every single week. Finally filling out your sleeves and wearing the vest in your cupboard that you bought but never had the confidence to wear. Probably a Gymshark vest. We've all got one. And if you want to grow your next 5 kilos of mass by taking on the SJ12 challenge, then the top link in the caption to this video, if you click that, you can save your spot.